So, yeah, it's good evening here for everyone. So whether you're in Nigeria or in Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, Zambia, and Ghana, it's evening already. So this is a Zoom meeting on like the usual platform that we usually be there that we use for the master class. So the same window I'm seeing is also the same you're seeing. Hi everyone. Hi Solidad.
Hi.
So you are free to unmute your mic and let's talk. Let's make this as interactive as possible. Hi also Victoria, former. Good evening. So it's closing time around here. So it's possible that you may be hearing the background noise in the background and things. So the agenda for this meeting. So let me know if I'm audible. Please. It seems like I'm just hearing myself. Faustin, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. If you can hear me, please give a response, reply or something. I need to hear another voice aside mine. Good evening.
Good evening. We can hear you.
Magoke. Actually, I'm pronouncing this name wrongly.
Good evening. Yes, you are pronouncing it correctly.
Okay, so I think it's a major thing from my end here. My video was off. Yeah, so I can hear myself clearly. Yeah, good evening. I was, saying. So let me hear someone else's voice. Let's chat. How was your day? Dominic is trying to join. Iwara, George. Good evening, Bamidele. Good evening, also. Good evening, and good evening, Grace. Grace Wongeli. Okay, so I can hear some other voices. So it's mine now. Yeah, good evening, Informa. Good evening, Emmanuel. Emmanuel Oparugo. Yeah, good evening, Kelly Alson. Good evening. Yeah, please let's unmute our mic and let's make this a little more interactive.
Yes.
Okay, I know my friends here. Yeah, Sarah has joined. Yeah, hello, Sarah. Sarah, cool. I don't know, until someone starts.
I can hear you, Maiwa.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I wanted to confirm if other people can also hear me. Yeah, thank you, Bamdele. Thank you very much.
Wow. Can you lock it for me?
Did she lock the door?
Okay, so let me mute this. Gideon, good evening. Gideon, I think Gideon is from Rwanda. No, from Rwanda or Zambia.
Rwanda.
Okay, Rwanda. Okay. But I know there's a Gideon with a different spelling in Kenya. So, okay, thank you very much, Gideon. Sarah. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. Okay, here my people. Grace Wongeli. Yes.
Good
How are you? Good
evening.
evening. Good evening. Yeah, good evening, Miracle Chiamaka. Good evening. Also Victoria, I've not heard your voice. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic Chibeza. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. It's a nice, it's a good day to be alive and to be here with you guys. A real pleasure. So I want us to just kickstart the meeting while other people are able to join. So like I said, the agenda for the meeting is we want to try to review some of the proposals of we want to do like a review of the proposals and also talk about next steps. And so basically also we are intending that in the period when you are implementing your projects, we want to stay in touch with you. We want you to also have the opportunity to do some other things. We need to hang out more. We need to plan some other activities. So those are the things that we'll be talking about in the course of the meeting today. Let me see if I can pull up. So I don't know what will come first. Family, good evening again. Do you want to go ahead with just explaining the proposal? So we just leave the other things to the remaining of the time to other group activities that we can do while we are implementing the projects.
All right.
I think we should
Yeah, thank you.
Start with that.
Yeah, thank you, Mayowa. And hi everyone. Thank you very much. And it's a great pleasure to actually be here to come here again today to meet you guys. I want to believe if I'm audible.
Oh yes, I can hear
You're
my
fine.
end. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So can everyone hear me?
Yes, please, we can
you
hear
are
you.
audible. You're audible.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right.
right.
First is I want to first believe that we have a larger group represented in this project. I mean, on this call. So we could kick off with that. So firstly is we looked at the entire project that we have, and I must say that you guys have put a lot of work together, and thank you guys so much for all that you have done. However, there are some challenges that we've seen in your project design, which are not clear, and that is one of the reasons why we actually call for this small presentation. I'm just trying to finish up something quick that I could just use as an example for us, so we can actually use that as a baseline that can help us achieve our goal. Firstly is that most of the group, our goal is not clearly identified. What we want to do is a bit much more than what we're looking at. I've seen some groups that their activities are really fantastic, their idea are really fantastic, but their implementation idea are not extreme like that. Just to not talk about one, is that our goals need to be clear. Now, when we have a clear goal, how do we want to achieve that goal is what our objectives are. How is what your objective will be. Do you understand? Then what do you need to do is what your key implementation plans should look like. In the next 10 minutes, this will be like sort of like a capacity building stuff. And trust me, we're not saying that you guys have not done a great work. To be honest, I'm very, very thrilled with the ideas that we've seen on from you guys. We're so thrilled by that. It is very, 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 very beautiful what we've seen. And I'm just trying to, when I'm done with this last, what that I'm doing, I'll use an example that I've created to actually engage us, and we can see what is expected of us to do. I hope I'm very clear. Can everyone still hear me? Hello?
Yes, we
Yes.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so in the next 2 minutes, I will be showing us simple things that we just need to put together so that we just need to see it. One of the reasons why we ask for a concept note or an implementation idea is that you don't necessarily need to be there before your ideas could be understand. You don't need to be there. So I'll be sharing my screen now, so I can give so everyone can actually see what I am saying, and I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Yes,
All
we
right.
do.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So I have just did a small project presentation. Please don't mind my own how beautiful it is. It does not matter how beautiful it is or something. It's just my own small kind of standard that I just like to do a lot of paparazzi. But it does not necessarily need to be beautiful. And that is why we shared that small template with you all. Now, the title of this project is the Community Rights Project. This is the introduction to the project. We're just introducing, and the introduction is just giving us like a background on the reason why we want to engage in this project. And then at the end, we said that the initiative hopes to install a borehole market in a market square and train 200 women. And you see, in this introduction, in this one page, I have talked about the problem statements, which is access to clean water and safe water is fundamental human right and key determination to health and well-being. This project aims to address the issue by providing sustainable solution through borehole installation, while also empowering women in community. You should understand, this is the problem that we want to address. Now, the goal of the project is to improve community well-being by providing sustainable access to clean water through borehole installation and empowering women to play central role in both water resources management and economic development. Now, I go to my project objectives. The project objectives is just 3. To improve access to clean water and safe water in community by reducing waterborne, to increase the involvement of women in community decision-making process and income generation, to enhance economic empowerment of women, resulting in improving living standard and reducing poverty rates. These are the objectives that helps me achieve this goal. Now, what will I be doing? Now, the key activities, I have 3 activities in here. The first activities is borehole installation. The second one is women empowerment. And the third one is media engagement. Now, in this borehole empowerment, this project aims to address the immediate, all of those. I have put where I will be doing this project. It is at Oniru Market in Lagos State. To effectively sustain this project, a 10-man focal person will also be set up to manage the activity of this water and be responsible to ensure the project serves its purpose. Now, on the part of the women empowerment, there's an error up there. The initiative seeks to equip women with necessary skills, knowledge, and resources activities to participate. You can see how I have put this into writing, into like just one shot. And the media engagement, media awareness campaign will be done to do that. And you can see that just with these 3, just with these, how many slides? Just with these 4 slides, I've been able to share the idea of what I want to do in this project. I've been able to communicate how do I want to do it, and I've been able to communicate when. That is not it. That's what we stated in the timeline. If there is a page on the timeline where we're looking at that. So, and then when the next phase that I should actually go, I'll stop sharing my screen now. So the next phase that I'll just be looking at is just to include my sustainability plan and then the budget, right? On how I want to. Let me just back up what I'm saying. I want to quickly share one of the projects that we have on ground, so I can use that as an example, and then I will be sharing my screen now in 1 minute. Can everyone see my screen, please?
Yes.
All right, thank you. This project is named Eco Guardian. Now, the project overview: Eco Guardian, waste management and education awareness campaign, waste to health. To me, I feel this waste to wealth could be the name of the project. It is very catchy. It is something that a vendor will want to look into. Then project timeline, 7th September to 2nd October. Fantastic. Problem description. They have described the project, the problem. Now, rationale of the problem, you get. And then it comes to the problem goal. All right. The problem statement and the goal is actually not aligning, but then it is awesome. And then we have 2 goals here: the primary goal and the secondary goal. To me, I feel the main goal of this project should be to improve public health and reduce improper waste disposal in the region by 3% between September to October 2023. This is what we want to achieve. This is part of what we want to achieve. This primary goal is an objective to raise awareness about the importance of proper waste management and recycling efforts in southern parts of Nigeria. That this is actually an objective that is speaking to this goal. Now, specific awareness. You can see that the secondary goal here, I've come back here again as to raise public awareness, to execute, to establish partnership. Fantastic. Now, how do we want to do this? In the activities, as a funder, these activities are too much looking at the time being. Remember, we're looking at sustainability. Each activity should be able to stand on their own. School outreach program, women empowerment through sustainable fashion, community engagement and awareness, transforming pet portals and tires into new creations, implement thorough monitoring and evaluation, capacity building and training, advocacy and policy influence, building local businesses alliances. Now, this number 8 and number 9 can be put into number 2. If our target audience will be women empowerment, if our target audience are women, we could say we're imbibing this capacity building and building local business alliance into this activity. Because if we want to empower women through sustainable fashion, we're connecting them to where they will get, to where they will seek knowledge from. Because we're saying waste to wealth. We need to train these women. That is my own idea, understanding. We need to train these women who knows nothing about waste management, and we want them to start creating wealth, meaning that we'll be connecting them to, right? And then we now go to key monitoring and evaluation plan. Let's not just talk about that. And the budget. This is the budget that really speaks. It is very fantastic. But if we look at the budget and the activity that they want to do, we can see that some of what is in the on this budget, what is in our key implementation plan, like implementing activity, are not captured in the budgets. How do we get to cost of making reusable sanitary pads when there is nothing like menstrual hygiene or empowerment? Do you get? For me, it's kind of off-key on cost of making. Do you understand? So I feel like we should, and while we were discussing this earlier, I've mentioned that we should think less. Let's not think so much on what we want to do in a large part. Let's start small, narrow. Let's all come together and narrow our idea, narrow our implementation activity to something that is achievable between 2 to 3 weeks maximum. And that is that on that. We should also look at our immediate, there are a lot of climate actions. While we were on the call the other time, I mentioned that we can all decide that, let's take for instance, I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. 3 of my members are based in Oshogbo, Osun State, Nigeria. It's the same Southwest Nigeria. Some of us, 8 of us are based in Oyo or Ogun, still under the same Southwest Nigeria. But our activity is that each member at the end of the week must have paid 20 bottles, 20 bottles at least in a day. Now, in a day, we are picking 20 bottles. 20 times 7, that is 140 bottles in a week. Times 10 people in a times 10 people in a group. That means that each member of the group, within our group, we have picked 1,400 bottles in a day, or I mean in a week. 1,400 bottles in a week from all the members of the team. That is a project that we could say that the ripple effect is not now, but then was saving the planet by not allowing all this trash go into our ocean, while it's causing another problem, submarine issues like that. Do we understand all of these things? We could look at, I saw one of the projects as well that want to adopt tree adaptation. It is fine that we are showing against deforestation. That is what our project is looking at. Now, each of the team members plants a tree in front of our house. If each of us, we are 20 in a group, and each of us planted a tree in front of our house, that means that we have planted 20 trees. So far that it is 20 trees, we could be looking at it as, oh, no, it is not. When the trees grows to a large amount, it is adding to the climate stuff. So let's look at little projects within our side. The proposal that I said you guys should share is really not a big idea. It's not a big thing. It's not like we're funding, or it's not like it is enticing any funder. It's just to channel your idea. It's just to speak your idea. And if you can look at the small presentation that I have done, I believe that if I should just pitch this, I've not completed this document. I just quickly, like in just 10 minutes, when my actually told me that this meeting is starting in 20 minutes. Okay, let me just put something together and then use it as an example. Right. So guys, I want to say that our big ideas, let's streamline them together. There are a lot of fantastic ideas that I've seen from all of the groups, and these are amazing things that we can do to create change in our societies, in our communities. But come on, guys, let's just limit this thing. Let's look at what we can do within our surrounding, one that is cost effective, and then that is minimum to, and within a short period of time that could be achieved. Yeah, and then thank you so much. Mayowa, over. Mayowa, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm here.
All right, please take on from here. Thank you.
I'm here. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Bamidele. Much to what I mean, to your credit, just like Bamidele mentioned, a number of you are on track, with your proposals, and perhaps the only thing that we probably just need to adjust is the costs. So we want a situation whereby perhaps for those that are on track, we perhaps remove an activity that we would consider to be beyond the scope of this fellowship. So just like we would always say, you cannot change the world all at once. I mean, some of us have these, very, very lofty dreams of at once you just with a snap of your finger, you just fix all of these problems. But we'll take it one step at a time. And I believe that part of the sustainability plans of this fellowship is to ensure that we do not lose touch with ourselves. So after the 12 weeks, we are still able to keep in touch to support ourselves with our respective projects. I've seen quite a number of our projects, and for those that might be considered a little off track, we are all learning, right? We are all work in progress. I feel that one of the things that you would gain from being an active participant of this fellowship is that aside the few of you that already have the key skill, right, of writing a proposal, and I don't know how many of us have grant writing experience. If you've written grants before, can you just indicate by show of hands? If you've written grants before, or you participated in a grant writing efforts, can I see your hands? I've not seen any hands, so I'm assuming that none of us have written a grant. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing two individuals, Smith and Dr. Lukumba. So basically, this exercise is also for us to develop that skill. So grant writing is not so different from this proposal writing, that we are actually engaged in. And a lot of us are either founders of organizations and in need of financial support in diverse ways. So this is one way that you can actually, put in the effort to develop this grant writing skill or proposal writing skill. I think so. Tomorrow is another class on the master's class, and we are still on the topic of the economic impacts of climate change. I think what we'll just do is that as best as we can, we would do the reviews on your proposals, and then we would reply your mail. But it basically, for those of us that are just starting with this journey of proposal writing, Pamela has mentioned it. We can just quickly run through what we had sent earlier as a template. I hope that helps someone here quickly. So just a second. And if you have questions that we can quickly take, it's welcome also. So let me see. Can everyone see my screen? I'm assuming yes. So can we all see my screen?
Yes, we see.
Okay, all right. So let me just do this. Okay, so the first slide, we expect that you have a very nice project name. Some of us have project names that are like this. You know how it can be when you see I mean, you have a community development work, I see a group of young people with this very nice tagline. Maybe you can say Eco Heroes, and perhaps the tagline or the project name kind of informs anybody that sees the project, I'm sorry, so the tagline informs anybody that sees you about the project. So if your project is about say tree planting, and the name or the title of your project is Save the Planet Project, this thing, right? Maybe with a caption or with a picture of a tree or something like that, it gives us, or it gives a visitor or anybody that does not know about the project a feel of what the project might be about. If your project is about empowerment, maybe it could be educate, action project, education, impact project, something that sounds really cool. You have to factor in the to put into the account or put into accounts that you are talking to, you're trying to communicate to young people, either adolescent or really young adults, and so you need to put or to have a project name that kind of sounds cool and also informs the general public of the nature of your project. So on this slide should just be that's a very cool project name, and you could be very creative about it. Nobody is going to rule that out. Your project's title, right? So your group name. So I'm assuming that since there are over 228 groups, each group should be identified by unique group name. So I don't care whether, or we really will not enforce this, but we feel it's a way of just making you stand out. Your project name might be Bamboo, might be Limpopo, might be might be anything that just makes you stand out, generally. And what other thing? The project timeline. Some of us have the project timeline, some didn't have. Your project timeline should be in line with your project activity. It's actually very important. So if you are saying that in total, we should have all our activities should end in 1 month, that is 4 weeks. So you must make sure that the activity that you would be bringing on board or you'll be suggesting should be something that that is workable within 3 weeks, and then you give an extra space for when you want to write your report and things like that. So 3 weeks should be enough. And also emphasizing what the Bamidele had mentioned about yeah, okay. So this second slide is about your problem statement. Describe the problem that you're hoping to achieve and the rationale. Is the problem, so there are different problems that you probably would have identified, but which is the most important if you put them in a scale? Which one is likely to be such that when you solve it kind of ticks the box for other smaller problems? You need to do that. And in this point too is also where you can include the business case, right? So just like we learned this week, that we should always ensure that part of what would attract investors to our project or our social impact work is that aside from presenting the social problem, we need to also look for a way to design the projects or say whatever we want to say in such a way that it has economic value for both the community that we are trying to impact and the investor. Aside this part, a very simple goal. So even if you want to solve everything, you must start from one place. So you need just one goal, right? And then a maximum of 4 objectives. So you could have one goal, 2 objectives, right? Or maybe one goal, 3 objectives, but should not be more than that. And your objective must be connected to your goal, right? Your objective should be connected to your goal. If you're thinking of that, you want, say, perhaps your goal is more youth participation, then you must make sure that your objective, just like Bamidele was talking about, that your objective is like trying to break down what the goal looks like or how you would get the goal in. Your goal and your objective must really align with themselves. They must not be apart. the other part is your key activity. Your key activity must also be, it should align with the objectives, right? So some of us that have done that are in the university or that are in our postgraduate programs and things like that, you must have heard or come across the word or expression, research question, and how you solve your research question or you come about your research question has a lot to do with your research methodology. This thing or the how you achieve or answer your research question has a lot to do with the methodology and the method that you choose to use. So whether you're using a qualitative answering style or a quantitative answering style to answer your research question. If, for instance, your goal is to ensure that the community that you are going to has, say, perhaps has say, okay, for instance, their environmental health, right, is improved, and then you say that, okay, part of improving or ensuring that the goal of your project is improving their health. If you want to suggest activities to put in, you need to bring in ideas or activities that will at the end of the day promote that goal. So for instance, some of the activities could be that you want to tell them more about the essence of ensuring a clean environment, and that would eventually translate into the goal of having a better quality health. This thing, right? You want to tell them that rather than just dumping your refuge everywhere, let's make something different, something beautiful, something artful about the waste that we generated. And so some way you ensured that their health is being enhanced, but you are not just saying it, you look for a way to make sure that they've cleaned their surrounding, and you're now even taking something out of what they will have considered the waste to create value for them, right? Aside this, and so speaking again to the project activity, we want to make sure that the activity that you're suggesting is something that is achievable within the timeline. So if for one reason or the other, we know that most of us stay in far-flung locations. You want to make sure that it's something that is quickly implementable. It's something that can be achieved within the shortest possible time, and that means that you have to also work within a limited amount of resources in terms of your finance. There's not going to be wastages in terms of finance or planning your project as if you have all of the funds to use. Right? So if you look at where everyone stays, you could just pick an activity that will have the most impact and that would involve more people coming together. So if it's time to meet up or to achieve a clean environment, to achieve the better quality health through of course a clean environment, if that is your goal, and part of your activity is more education in underserved communities or communities that are not, that would not have had exposure to climate change education or climate education, We are looking at beach side cleanup or market side cleanup. We are looking at road work. We are looking at different things. Why don't you just pick maybe 2 activities that just hit the mark, and with a very low cost, I mean, at a very low cost, you've also done what you want to do. And if you're thinking of being very innovative about it, you could also bring on a tech approach to it, where some of us in our research team might have some idea of project of product design, design thinking. Why don't you come together and just perhaps write a program or something that has probably a larger community appeal, right? Where if people are able to use, I mean, then this fellowship will just be like a testing ground. You've built your software, and you can then go to a rural community and help them to be able to predict or actually accurately plan when it's safe or it's more beneficial to plant. Something like that. This thing, right? And it's just one, and it's low cost, because I believe that the skill is yours. Is embedded in you. It does not require that you need to buy a lot of seedlings. You need to give people grants or loans or things like that. It's about a few of you able to exert your energy on coming together, putting your brains together, writing a program, studying, and not just doing what has been done, but bringing innovation to it, in the sense that you've now studied, you've done a need analysis, you've gone to that community, you've understudied them and the kind of problem that they have, and then your innovation will now be to use technology or your knowledge of Python or whatever program that you want to use to fashion a solution to that effect. Your solution, if you're trying to bring in, tech, your solution might not just be directed towards maybe climate impact on agriculture. It could be climate impact on health. It could be climate impact on economy. I don't know if I'm aligning with some of our thoughts here. So we need to be very creative about it. And when we say that your project has to be low cost, we are not just saying that you just do the same thing basically like everybody does a cleanup or education. There are so many ideas that we can copy or that we can refine from different places, from India, from similar economies as has, and try to make work for us. Abiola last week talked about if in Africa we've been able to use or leverage our indigenous knowledge. So many of us come from communities where even before technology, we have studied the pattern of birds. We know the specific sounds and specific frequency of their songs or their tweets to tell if a particular rainfall is going to be really, really disastrous. And we've used animals and all of those things to tell what kind of disaster is coming, and it has influenced whether a community will need to migrate, northwards or southwards or eastwards, or something like that. So have we been able to do some research within ourselves, within our communities, to be able to this, and that's where our problem statement have to come from. Your problem statement must not be something that I'm sorry, has to be generated by ChatGPT. It must be something that everyone in the group connects with. This thing, right? You believe in it. You believe that it's a more important problem than others, right? And so, let's just go on. So, after stating your key activities, right, you can state as many, but you need to now narrow down on the most important ones. It could just be one of the activities, and then you give your costing based on that activity, right? On your monitoring and evaluation strategy and sustainability plan, it's just basically telling us how you will monitor it and what you would then use as a yardstick to say that yes, you hit your mark. So if your project is about education and awareness, you want to do a baseline level of knowledge, just like we did when we started this fellowship. We asked you certain things even before we started the course at all, just to gauge or assess the level of your knowledge about certain things, Paris agreements, and then all of that. And then we start the master class, and after the master class, you take the same kind of test, right? Or maybe slightly different, and then we can now, see if the level of your knowledge has, changed, right? So that's what you want to do. If your project is about educating the rural community, how do you intend to measure the impact of your work? And I'm actually trying to choose my word about impact, because someone had asked us about impact, and they wanted to be very careful that we are not saying impact in terms of that, we are going to see a lot of these things. We want something that is very measurable, right? So if your project is about education, how do you know that the level of education of this beneficiaries, right, have been improved? If your project is about agriculture, have they learned new and sustainable ways of doing things? So rather than using chemical fertilizers or chemicals that will damage the integrity of the soil and all of that, are they able to now see the reason why you are talking about organic farming and things like that? So that is it in that. I will still take our questions. For sustainability, hey, you want to tell yourself that after your 1 week or 1 month project, how do you ensure that it now becomes a means of life or a way of life? This thing, right? That's what we're just trying to say, basically. Is there going to be like a community handover of your project? So if your the project activity is about educating the youth or the adolescent or school children, are you intending to have like champions in schools? Are you intending to have a club where these students are able to generate these ideas themselves and then carry on the good work, and then you just provide some kind of mentorship or some kind of supervisory angle to things? Then of course your budget has to be in line with your activities, and if you don't know so much about budgets, it's a shared problem, right? With most of us. You can talk to some of us that have finance background, right? And it will be able to help you, right, to this thing. So when you are creating a budget, each item in your budget has, as a rule of thumb, right, has a percentage that is allocated to them by standard. So you cannot play with that percentage. You can go online and find out more about the percentage, administrative costs, the cost of M&E, then your main project activity, things like that. So I feel that is the most important thing. And then the list of your group members. Some of you have 3 group members. We understand the work that you put into this, and we really appreciate that some of you, in spite of the fact that you did not have a lot of time and there's not a lot of people to rub minds with and exchange ideas with, you've been able to put up something really brilliant to submit. So just like I said, we would make our reviews on the activities and look at most importantly, the things that we can do to help you align with the objectives of the fellowship. Some activities we'll discuss with you if they should stay based on the available resources, and some of the other activities, just keep the projects plan, keep the proposal. Some of the activities is something that you'll be executing immediately. Others will be for a longer term, something that you will still need to implement for the future. At this point, I'll be taking questions before we call it a day. Thank you. Is there any one of us with questions? So let me see. Is there a Q&A something? Okay. Ali. Yeah. Good evening. Let's take your question.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for this insight regarding the project proposal. Though we have learned a lot in regard to the project we are about to carry out. Though the question I want to ask, since you said you are going to review the various proposal, though what we need from you guys is to maybe look in detail what we did in respect to the various group, and also each group should have maybe a recommendation in that regard, so that we know where we have lapses. That is one. And secondly, we know if there's where we should maybe align, like the first presenter said, some activity need to be married together so that we don't have a lot of activity for issue of maybe time factor, and also in line with what the goal and objective of the project is. So this is what I'm pleading for, so that it will guide us in time to come. Maybe next time you may have funding in that regard. Maybe you can link us to funding, and we are asked to maybe develop a proposal. So we'll pick from what we did at this group stage. So it will help. Thank you very much, and over.
All right. Thank you very much, Ali, for that. So advising us, or suggesting basically that as we review that there should be recommendations. Yes, I mean it's also the reason why we are having this meeting, so that we are able to carry us along as we do it. And this also kind of serves as a way to get a feel, a feedback of some sorts on our experience as we were writing the proposal. For some of us, it's our first time. For some other people, it's something that has been on for quite a while. So we'll add recommendations about your projects, just like you suggested. Let's hear from Olaide Olawowo. You can unmute your mic, sir. Olaide Olawowo. Okay.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I think that I want to request for clarity as regard that looking at the time frame we have. Are we to do a kind of because what we are looking at as a group is to do advocacy part of and utilize survey to conduct interview with our potential audience. Now,
Okay.
So that's what we are looking at, considering the effect of climate change across different thematic areas. So, and then we look at, we should be able to get in something and do analysis between now and the 6th week, between now and the 10th week to submit our reports. Now, but what I have with what you've just presented, looking at the budget. Now, how should we approach that? Should we do the minimum we could now and look forward to implementation later, because I'm considering where the budget will be coming in and what we should be looking at in reality. Should we treat that project as let's have what we can do now, then when it comes to full implementation, we should now speak to budget. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So a very good question, very nice idea about then conducting studies, and I don't imagine that and I'm being very careful to use the word costly, but when so sorry, I need your response on this. Professor Lady, you said it's is a research of some sort. So after the research, is there like a project component again to that, or the plan is to conduct this research for publication?
Yeah, we want to do publication, and then we want to do publication and do some a bit of advocacy. The program is the project is in phases, but we are looking at the minimum we could do within the shortest time. So
Yeah.
I'm coming. So the question then, my question is then that even if we do budget, is it is something that there's possibility that your organization is going to sponsor it, or we should do what is the time is what the time is permitted and what each member of the group can afford, because that's the perspective we look at this project. I need to know that if it's a project that's going to be supported beyond the time frame we have, then we then begin to look at the timeline and say, okay, we are going to do this within this period. Then once we get necessary support, we scale it up and do some other component of the project. I think that's the area we need clarity. So presently, we want to work within what it will be comfortable with each member, what's achievable for us to deliver. That's what we are planning presently. But if there's that phase, if there's a component of support from your organization for us to implement our project, then we now the way we are going to do our reporting will show that okay, we are doing this because of the time frame. Then with the necessary support, looking at this, this is the project of implementation, then we can scale it up after the fellowship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's clearer now. Yes, I mean, we are open to such ideas, right? Where for the given time frame, in the shortest time frame, so that's within 3 to 4 weeks, what you can achieve, right? And then for some of your projects, we might now consider further funding to be able to bring it to a reasonable end or conclusion. So, so two things are going to determine your project. One, the timeline, right? And two, the cost. So we didn't do a project that can be that's achievable within 3-4 weeks with the available resources that you can muster on your own creatively. Like we mentioned, that the finance that we have on ground is not really for your project implementation, but mostly for minor mobilization. That's why your project has to be low cost. Have to be as low cost as possible. After the 4 weeks, at the end of this project, for some of us, our project has a component that perhaps our partner would be interested in as access cooperation. It could be something that will now be supported on the long run. And I mean, that's the way we see it at the moment. So within 4 weeks, please try to complete your project. But if in the proposal, it looks like there will be need to now follow through with the project to a reasonable conclusion. There are some projects that have a big picture kind of build, right, or design in it. It's something that we are open to discuss, essentially. I don't know if that answers that. It's all right. It's all right.
Hello?
Okay. Yes, I was asking if my explanation clarifies that. So just carry on with your project. We will of course review the proposals, right? If within 4 weeks you're not able to complete it to a reasonable conclusion or to a reasonable end, and it's good enough, right, for us to pitch to our partner, it's something that we are now open to discuss with the entire group members for us to do, but personally, I like the idea of going via the research route, because I mean that's what we are trying to also encourage in Africa, where we have more data, community or data that has a local context. So just please go on. 4 weeks is what we have for our projects. But I mean, for some of us, our projects have that long-term appeal. So we are open to us to that also. Hope that answers that. All right. I think we've taken a question from Ali Itoro. I don't know
Hello,
if
sir.
I mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah, it answer, but I want to create the indulgence if we can understand what the budget that we are looking at. You asked us to do a low budget. I think it will help us to have a kind of time, a range of what is feasible, so that whatever we need to do, our budget will really make sense. That we are not just be working outside what is reasonable.
Okay.
Yes, that should be the ceiling for the budget. At least let's say from so to so, it will help.
Okay, to be safe, let's do this. So pending when we would have our next meeting next week, right? So, but just be rest assured that as we review the proposal, it will be included. It would definitely be included a budget cap that your project will be. Because we don't want a situation where some of our projects that might that are really good will now be affected. I mean, the idea will be will be interrupted or will be damaged, because of costs. So let's just take it one step at a time. In the review that we'll be providing, we'll provide a budget cap for your kind of projects. And then next week, we will deal with this with the limits of the budget, right, more extensively. How about that?
Okay, great.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
From Ali.
Okay.
So one thing I want to maybe inform the house or you particularly on this issue of climate change. So we all know the northeast region of this country is worstly affected. That is the issue of desertification. That is one, and also issue related to land degradation and other form of climate issue. So though we have some partners that are into climate change activity here in the Northeast, because just recently Borno State Governor also have the plan to plant about 1 million seedlings in the state to caution issue of climate change. Though I don't know from this project, after this maybe the activity, what is your stake in this part of the region, because it's worstly affected with issue of this climate change. That is one. And secondly, I don't know if you have any plan of maybe coming to Northeast to maybe implement project which will help in reviving the Northeast on this issue of climate change. So this is what I have in that regard. Thank you, and over.
All right, thank you very much, Ali. Even though I had like a bit of a network is the thing. Can I confirm that you are in the volunteers group? Because I didn't get your question in entirety.
Yes, I'm in the volunteer group, sir.
Okay, please, can you type your question in volunteer group? I would
okay, I will
try
do
as
that.
much as possible to answer them.
Okay, sir, I will do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very
Hello,
much.
sir. I have questions, sir.
Okay, please, you have to do that quickly. Yeah.
All right. So the question would then be that now, I heard you talking about the proposal.
Okay.
Are we doing the proposal first now, or what we are submitting at week 10 is a proposal?
You are doing the proposal now. That's why we asked you to submit a proposal. So the proposal is to help us to have an idea of what your team is trying to do. So between now and in 4 weeks' time, that is well into October. So what we are expecting at the end of your project is a completed project with a report. And that qualifies you as a fellow on the program. Okay. I assume that has been answered. Okay. All right. Thank you, lady. So one last question from Gideon.
Hi, Shobo.
Hi, Gideon.
Fine. So I was wondering, how could we focus on the beginning for the things we only run for only 1 month? I was wondering, how could we spend all this much effort for just a short-term project which will last only 1 month? Thank you.
State that question again. Seems I'm hearing something quite interesting. You know, please, can you state the question again?
How could we spend this on just the short-term project which will last only 30 days?
Okay, so if I understand your question, how can you spend, are you talking in terms of money or the knowledge that has been gotten?
No, I'm talking about in terms of impact.
Okay.
So, yeah, we are in form of impact. How could we impact in only 30 days?
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. We've gone over this in our previous meetings, right? You know, where we're trying to explain that, and I was actually trying to be very careful with the word impact. So one of my teachers would say that impact is not, in most cases, not something that is attributed to just our effort alone. So the if perhaps to one of your activities educating a group of youth, young people to about climate and environment, and then any other thing, perhaps you want to develop a curriculum, a course, for them that is fit for that age, the bracket. For a short-term project, look towards short-term outcomes. So you are teaching them. It makes sense to gauge if whatever you've been teaching them, right, if it means something to them. And how do you know? Has their level of knowledge been appreciated? Do they have an increased level of knowledge? Impact will not come after 1 month. Listen, right? Just like you said. So you might have forgotten it, but how you know that your project has made impact is that those same set of students now become teachers, and it now it now has some kind of multiplier effect where somebody that attended your lecture or that attended that project, that attended that workshop is able to now be represented. It now becomes like a seedling that will become a big tree someday, right? Your lesson, your project has been formed in someone's mind, has transformed their behavior. That behavior now goes on to become something that the society or the from the immediate family sees and can now emulate. Perhaps one of the things that you teach them is how to better use resources, convert their foodstuffs to this thing. I'm very surprised that the child that you've now taught how to convert their food to compost for farming or for any other reason, maybe for your backyard garden, now takes that idea. It now becomes a family thing where their siblings, their parents are now able to then use it. It now becomes something that they can now use again as some people's business are built around selling manure and selling these growth, these natural growth enhancers. So that is where your impact. So impact is usually not attributed to just one factor. Is it right? So from this project, I think if your project is about education, just focus on what is the immediate outcome of what I'm teaching them. That can also be built into your sustainability plan, where you are not just leaving them to have this knowledge. You've now taken, you've trained them, they have increased knowledge. So what do you want to do to sustain the knowledge? You now want to make them leaders in their community, where they are now able to take this knowledge to other places, to teach other people, to inspire them. And then maybe 2 years, 1 year from when you've taught them, you come into the society and they're like, it was that your training, it was that your project that has revolutionized the way things are here. So, and that's why as you build your projects, make sure that the plans are, the outcomes are measurable in quantitative terms, in clear terms, basically. I hope that helps. Okay, Gideon is.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so don't really bother so much about the impact. Complete it, but look towards short-term, measurable outcomes. But just make sure that you've done your work well, and build whatever you're doing as a part of your sustainability plan. It's good that you've identified that your projects might have a side to it that might not be complete, right? Or that might be like a weakness for it. Build a sustainability plan around it. Are you intending that after a physical workshop, you might bring some of them online to continue the class, even after your project, and you just nominate yourselves to just do something like that? All right. Hope that solves it. So, well, it's a good thing that we've yeah, thank you very much, Ali. It's a good thing that we've been able to spend this time, and I appreciate each and every one of us that has been on the call. I know it's been a long day for some of us, having to juggle school and work and all of that. We appreciate each and every one of us. The next thing I want us to talk about, and then we are leaving, is what we can do after in the time that we are implementing our project, because of course we will not have the masterclass on every week. And so some of us have suggested that we have something like maybe a weekly webinar where we invite experts among us, right? Because I understand that some of us are actually practicing sustainability people. Some of us are environmentalists, some of us are advocates, and whichever sphere that we are, but we can always leverage our networks, right? Some of us have are working in organizations that champion sustainability work. We would want to bring you on board on this kind of ideas, where perhaps you organize a workshop on this program, or you do some kind of skills training, right? We could do a life skill training, and for some of us that might even be tech inclined, you could teach us some applications of how we can revolutionize our ideas and bring in tech on board, and different ways. But I want us to, as a way of giving us more ownership of it, to think about these ideas and just freely post on the group. Would talk about it, and I really want us to really be serious about this. We have a very short time on in the program. Of course, someone just mentioned that we have just 1 month for a project that has really big potential. I want us to think about that and come up with a work plan that we can do together. I don't know if anyone has anything to say about that. Now we are through with project proposals. Just await the reviews, and let's carry on from there. But for now, the topic that we have at hand is the things that we can be doing pending while we are writing. We are executing our projects. Is there any idea at the moment? Yes, and I also want to say thank you to some of us. I think there's somebody in Kenya, I don't know, Nancy shared an information about a tree planting exercise that is ongoing. Please, let's go on to make our groups lively. For some of us that are country reps here, bring excellent ideas, creative ideas to encourage our group members. Those ideas will go on to bring those what do you call it? To bring those engagement that we are looking for, right? And it's something that we are looking forward to. Okay, so fine. I'm assuming that we would be able to continue this on the group in the absence of any comments, addition or subtraction. So there are no other questions. In the absence of this, I'd say that let's have a pleasant evening rest. Your questions, the meeting does not end here. If there are other things that you want us to clarify, please just drop them on the group or carry on from there. Please do not forget that the program, the masterclass, continues tomorrow. We're expecting the kind of participation as we had, right, in the last class on Monday. For each and every one of us that was around on Monday, you would agree with me that the class was, you felt the advantage of being in a live class where you can have live conversation in real time, and feel our pulse. Some of us had stories and some of the things that we are doing. I want to also crave our indulgence to participate more in the groups. Our conversation needs to be wider. Let us inspire ourselves with those really thought-provoking debates that will help us to navigate the course better to a truly greener, cleaner, and sustainable Africa. I thank you all. It's bye from me. Bye, everyone. Have a pleasant evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Godwin.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Hey.
Bye. Do have a nice evening rest.
Bye, Ali. Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Nancy. Bye. Yeah. I know you just
just
joined.
joined and the meeting is ending. I'm sorry, I saw it late.
It's all good. It's all good. Thanks for joining us anyways.
All right.
Bye, 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 bye.